Alright, it's okay, guys. False start again. So I'll go through it very quickly this time. Turbo's Rad Marathons, we went on a hiatus. We're coming back. Gonna try to do this fairly regularly. It's a one-day stream devoted towards showing what people have been working on at any given time. Isn't necessarily related to being the best at the game or having world record strats. Just showing what people have been interested in and have been working towards and striving towards in the time between marathons. Right now we have good old Heroine DP, or Zephyr as she's known inside the Shining Friends circle. And she is going to be showing off a sweet little Mega Drive and Genesis game, RagnaCenty, that I didn't even know existed, and it looks pretty cool actually, from the little bit that I've watched of it. Zephyr, would you kind of like to talk about yourself and give us a short little introduction to the game and what to expect out of it before we start you up?
So this is RagnaCenty. It goes by various names in localization. In America it was known as CrusaderCenty, which most people will be probably more familiar with. Or if you're in the Eurozone, it was known as Soleil, which is the version that I grew up with. It's a cute little game. It's sort of a Zelda clone that was developed by an outsourced company that Sega employed called Nextech. And it basically uses animals as enchanted, like, powers for your sword, and there's a huge, like, sword throwing mechanic and everything involved. It's a very cute game with a really good soundtrack, and that's why I enjoy playing it. But we should be ready here. I've already got my name put in, so whenever you're ready.
Okay, go ahead and give me a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then go, and I'll go and go.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go. So, this is your birthday, you're 14 years old. Here is your mother, she's gonna give you a sword and shield. Unfortunately, she has news for you as well, that your father died in the act of battle, and so you're basically next in line to fight the monsters. But first you have a birthday party, and your friends are here. Pico's here, Bull and Alice are here. We hear a firework, and your friends realize that today is the day Eamon gets his holy sword, so Eamon is a renowned hero, so we're gonna go see what's up. We also need to get permission from the king as well to actually leave the town. So we go in here, we see Eamon getting appointed. And basically just wait for him to leave. But we need to talk to the king just to let us know, let him know that it is our 14th birthday and we can go to the Rafelsia training grounds and pretty much just get access to training there, pretty much. There are like 3 places you can go in the training grounds, so like there's 3 difficulties. But we don't even complete the first training ground. We're kind of terrible in the sense that we're just complete slackers. All we're going to do here, all we actually need to do in a speedrun is to just get the gold that we need. So we need 20 gold, and it's done through the patches of grass at the beginning here. In the task version of this run, they actually damage boost using those spikes. That I don't know if that's still actually a thing. But it's something that I do for now. But we want to reset the grass, because 10 gold is enough. We need 20. 20 gold. So we're basically just getting the gold here, and we're gonna go to the trainer straight after, which actually is just in that house there. I mean, if you wanted to effectively gold farm in this game, this isn't the place to do it. It's just the most effective place for this part of the game. But we're gonna talk to this fellow here. For 20 gold, he'll teach us the sword throwing technique, which is actually the most important skill in the entire game. It's what allows you to do most of the things in this game. And you can go to this mountain pretty early, but like you're not gonna be able to do anything here because you're gonna get stopped by two obstacles. I'll talk about the first one, but the other one I'll talk about a little bit later on. There's these like little turtles coming out of the mountain. They don't reward any gold or anything. And they just keep spawning, so they get fairly annoying, so we just ignore them. So the first obstacle is over here. Like, you can't reach these little like vulnerabilities in the mountain until you like pretty much get the sword throwing. So this is the big bad wolf, if we can get him right here. He's taken over Granny's house, and we gotta get rid of him. We're not quite Red Riding Hood, but for some reason this Granny kind of forgets that she's in danger, because she suddenly like, once you save her, she's like, oh, the fortune teller's in town. So that's pretty much all the information we actually get from her. So now we leave, and we actually have to head back to the town and find this fortune teller. And she won't actually be immediately in the town. She's off in the little park to the side here, so we go this way. And there's a lot of like fun things you can do in this park. Like in a casual playthrough, there's a lot of fun gimmicks in this game that can get you like gold apples that increase your health, or what have you, or just money. But literally the only time we ever go here is just for this fortune teller. Like, we never need to go here again. But she'll cast a spell on us. She'll say, oh, you're the one. And she'll leave. Immediately you won't notice anything. But as soon as you go to town and you start talking to people, you'll realize that they'll return a lot of like garbled mess. They'll kind of look like they're cursing a lot, but the truth is you can't actually understand what they're saying. What the fortune teller did was allowed you to communicate with animals, so now you can talk to your dog in your house, and your dog's like, wait a minute, you can speak to me? And he decides to join you. We actually have to get the dog, otherwise you can't finish the mountain. So we're gonna go back to Dahlia Valley over here. The mountain looks very strange. Just remember how it looks there. It'll become important to the story later on. I'm just gonna clear these and...
So, seemingly very, very similar to, you know, any type of over-the-top style game. Obviously, a lot of inspiration coming from The Legend of Zelda. Can you talk about kind of some of the differences that this game has when kind of compare and contrasting gameplay-wise to the Zelda games? What's similar and what's a little different?
I would say, like, the whole animal system is completely different. Like, instead of using bombs or using the ocarina to move around or whatever, you're relying very much on like your sword on its own. Besides like running fast with like the cheetah animal or anything like that, a lot of the game's mechanics just rely on the sword. Like, the only actions you can really do is jump and throw, but beyond that, most of everything else is just based on what you can do with your sword and how you solve most of the puzzles with your sword. Whereas in Zelda, you would be relying on whatever items you pick up, whatever tools you have, like the glove or the shovel. Pretty much that, really. So this is the... oh, sorry.
Would you say that then that the tools are very much replaced by the animals? Like, that's kind of the system that takes progression in this game?
Pretty much, yeah. A lot of the like, you're blocked unless you get a particular animal. Like, the reason the order of this game is done the way it is like, you have to get said animal to complete a puzzle. If you were playing this game casually and you were doing the training grounds, you wouldn't actually be able to complete half of them until you got certain ones in your team, so...
Are we just ignoring that Sonic was chastising you for speedrunning here?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Sega had, like, a lot of Sonic references in their games, and because this was one that they had a lot of involvement with, they put Sonic in this one too. He doesn't join your party, unfortunately, or make you go fast. There's actually another animal that does that, so I'm failing to do this pretty hard. Normally I can just get the push of the wind there to do that switch, but it wasn't happening.
I mean, originally this game was very impressive to me. Now I'm kind of disappointed there's no loop-de-loops in it.
Loop-de-loops. My god. I've no idea how that even worked, but... Alright, so this is... I would consider this like a dangerous part of the game. Like... I could probably save right now, but I think I've got a lot of practice here, so I don't think it's gonna be necessary. Like, I'll probably take a hit or two here, but... Oh, there we go. Normally I take a lot of damage there, but it looks like we're okay. Also, I'm gonna wait here, because I know the wind is gonna get me before I have a chance to get across here. Trolled by prawn. Alright, so here's the second boss of the game. This one's also pretty easy. If I can swing my sword right, but... Like, taking damage isn't really an issue in this game, because every time you defeat a boss, you will be restored to full health no matter what, so... You can pretty much just tank a lot of this game without healing. So we get a new animal. This is the penguin. And, the penguin's pretty good. Like, it enhances the damage that our sword can deal, but it can also deal with special types of enemies as well. Unfortunately we don't really use the dog at all. Like, the dog joined us, but the reason why I've never equipped it is because all he does is he just stops enemies, and it sounds like it could be useful, but in practice in this game it doesn't quite work out that way. And even in a casual run it's a bit underwhelming. So the next area is Hot Daisy. There's a lot of, like, cloudy dragons here. We don't really kill all of them, we usually avoid most of them, but...
So another kind of interesting comparison between the two. These are really large maps, but they aren't exactly interconnected, are they? It seems like they're kind of zoned off a little bit on the world map.
They are, yeah. Like, you have to...
So do you need to go outside of different exits on a map to reach connected areas, or can you just kind of bypass it? Like, how does the system for that work?
If it's your first time visiting the area, you can pretty much just, like... hang on. I'm trying to make sure I don't die here. It's pretty much just, like, once you reach Burn Daisy, you can't go further unless you get the penguin. So, like, you'd be stopped by that fire, because you have to, like, somehow freeze it, and God knows how you actually freeze lava, but yeah, that's a thing you can do. But yeah, it'll only let you go so far until you've actually been to the place first time, and then you're free to, like, just walk over it if you want. So, I don't actually have much health right now, but it's not really a huge problem. Like, the only place I need to take damage is there. The boss here is quite easy, so... I mean, I saved just in case, but... Like, normally I shouldn't be taking any more damage here. There is kind of a very rude slime over here. You'll see him in a minute. Like right here. He can move like at you, he can move like down, he can move up. It's pretty random, and it can upset your day if he decides to move at you or the way you're trying to go. So, Ripperoni, that bird there. Some crispy chicken. So this boss I kind of need to focus on a little bit, so don't mind if I go quiet for a second, but it's basically a set of pins and you have to hit the one that's flashing. Sometimes they can overlap in a bad run, sometimes they can go pretty slow, but they'll always move in sets of 4. So on the 4th move here is where he'll stay. But he'll always be the one that's frowning. Sometimes they can all frown. But as long as you keep an eye on them, you're fine usually. So if this wasn't an actual run, like a timed run, this would be a pretty good fight, because he's not moving too far. Alright, so there's that one, and then just one more hit. If you fail to hit him, I think all that happens is you take damage. I don't know if he heals, he might, but yeah, that's the fight. So defeating him, you get CL the Flying Squirrel, which is incredibly useful, and you actually need her to get past this next section here. We also need to pick up money on the way, so what we're going to be doing here is getting this money bag, and then getting another money bag that's like further along the zone here.
How important do you feel money is kind of to performing well in this game? Like, is there a set money route? Are you relying on some drops here or there? Like, how is the economy kind of based in this game?
There's no RNG on drops. Like, all the money bags are in the same place you'd usually find them. All the enemies drop the same amount of money, which is just 1 million. But you do need a certain amount of money at certain points of the game. One of them's coming up here. Pretty shortly we'll need about 70 gold. We have 60 right now, but once we get this next money bag, we'll have more than enough. Also, this is the moment I have to decide how much health I have and if I want to go the safe route or not. But we might be fine. I think what I'll probably do is grab these and that'll be fine. Sometimes you can get unintentionally boosted by enemies when you're hit, and it can kind of work out for the better. But here I don't want to take too much damage. But yeah, this is the last money bag we need for a while. There's only one more in the game after this, because we'll need another 50 by a certain point as well. So this is the next animal village that we find. Off to the side here, there's a race course with a rabbit, and he'll charge 20. So you pay the 20. There's a cheater here who's being conned. He's kind of upset with his job of being a racehorse, so if you pay him an extra 50, he'll go slow for you. And it will actually make this race winnable. In a glitched run, you wouldn't even bother paying him twice. What you would do is you would reverse on the edge of the racetrack, and you would just, like, cheat Mario Kart style.
So for a little bit of reference, RagnaCenty comes out in 1994. That would be 3 years after Link to the Past does, and while there's many Link to the Past clones out there, this is definitely a step above in quality over those by a fair margin. One of the things that struck me the most kind of watching Heroin do a couple runs of this really is, if you look at the smoothness of movement and animations, and especially when the character rotates around, like when it turns direction, is really stark.
Yeah, like this game, like I played this when I was super young. Like I had this Landstalker, Shining Force, and all that, and this game stuck out for me because it wasn't just only the first game I ever beat, but like the presentation of this game is pretty good as well, and I think it's just aged really well. So we're in Iris now. We got turned into a slime, so we have to wander as a slime for a few minutes. By a wizard hiding in the bushes. So we're gonna go over here. I don't remember all their names, but one's called like Pasty and Slimy, and they see that Eamon's coming to kill them, and they decide to run inside. And he wants to kill you as well. But Slime Mom knows better. If you talk to her twice here, she'll say that you're not her son, so she'll send you off to go find Kiln, which is the elf that did this to us. So we're gonna go in this house over here. We need to talk to him twice. We can actually step away from him while we're talking to him, and I'll be like, he'll be like, he can't help us anyway. So we gotta go back to Slime, ask her again what we need to do, because he doesn't really want to help us. He's like, well, the slime was pretty happy. So Slime Mom will tell us to see the witch, and in order to see the witch we need to step on the center of a star 10 times. I do like how you can just get Eamon stuck. He just never bothers you, really.
He's trying to farm medals.
He's trying. Okay, so with that done, this is a gate that opens. This is a witch's house.
I assume that there's like a flag trigger where you have to talk before you can jump on the stars, correct?
Yeah, there is, yeah. What actually happens if you go in there too soon, you can talk to the witch, but she won't actually do anything for you. I have had a go at that before, but yeah. There are some pretty good sequence breaks in this game. One does skip an entire dungeon in a glitched run, so that's pretty fun when that happens.
Do we got about 30 seconds that I can
yeah,
talk
go
about
ahead.
Kind of. Alright, sure. So TRM is not always a donation-based marathon, not in the slightest. A lot of time we are doing it just for the sake of, again, exposing people to new games, new runners, giving people experience with their commentary, and really just trying to build a community spirit type of event. However, for the purpose of this marathon, we do have a slight goal here. If you look at the donation tracker at the bottom, there is a runner, Aaron _ who is a Silent Hill series runner. He has recently had his monitor basically just break on him, and he's requesting about $150 from his stream in order to get it replaced. I've decided that for this marathon we can try to help at least, maybe get him a few bucks here or there. If you guys are interested in donating towards that cause, you can go ahead and click on the link inside of the information for the stream. It should say pay with PayPal. It should link directly to Aaron _ Streamlabs. Make sure in the donation comment you mention that you were brought there by TRM, Turbo's Rad Marathons. Let him know that we're here to help, and hopefully he reaches his goal. He's generously provided the widget just to make sure that we aren't over-donating to him. But I would like to help him out because he is a pretty important part of that community and has really contributed a lot, both to the community spirit of Silent Hill, but also towards running the game in general. Thank you guys for any generosity you may have, and feel free to tweet us out on Twitter, just in general. You know, we love to see people here. We love to reach new people who maybe want to run in future TRMs. But anyway, back to this pretty sweet game.
So this is the worst boss in the game in an actual speedrun, because this boss isn't hard. Like, he's easy to kill, but he tends to cause a lot of lag, and he can just spend his entire time just like not going vulnerable. Like, he'll have a vulnerable state, but most of the time he just likes dancing. But he's being nice to us here. But yeah, usually he'll just dance for a really long time. He can do it for, I've seen him like do this for like 2 minutes. Make the fight 2 minutes long. Just messing around, but he's being okay so far. Oh, actually, yeah, this is a good fight. This would be a good pace run if it was an actual run. So yeah, that's Roxy. We were trying to get to heaven, but because that fell flat, our penguin friend here suggests that we actually go to her hometown instead of Castle Freesia, which is across the ocean, but we have no means to actually get across the ocean, so we need to come back here to Camellia Desert, and there's an animal oasis here with a dinosaur. And we're gonna try and recruit him, but he's very scared. He doesn't want to join us. But as soon as you try and leave, he does, so. You can't actually recruit him until you've beaten Roxy, so. Unfortunately, we can't do it before then. But now we can get to Castle Freesia.
Time mentioning that this is indeed an actual run, that you're clearly gonna PB, and then you're gonna have to link to this.
I have no idea what actual pace I'm on right now, but I am very curious to like go back over this and like just see what my early game is, because I feel like Roxy was really good. But yeah, this is Castle Freesia. There's a lot of slidey tiles. You can jump to boost pretty much. In fact, it's one of the few places where jumping is actually useful. Like, if you were doing glitch run as well, there'd be a lot of cool things you could do here, like clip into walls and stuff. And, like, if you were practicing for that, this would be a very easy game to, like, learn that kind of stuff. Oh. Alright, so we're gonna have to change our animals here pretty soon. Need to change to lion right here. So, lion is fire-based. We use him to melt the ice all over Eamon, even though he tried to kill us earlier. If you try and talk to Eamon, you actually still won't be able to speak to him, because he still speaks humanese, so we don't know what he's saying. A favorite boss coming up is... the next boss is GiaRama. He's a pretty fun boss, if I can do it right. So this is a part where I usually just fall in the water no matter what. It's just usually faster. You can like get to the edge of that, but you usually fall in because of the physics on the ice. Okay, so here I need to switch to our penguin friend to start with. And opening this box and getting the magic seed will bring about GiaRama, which is a very angry giant version of the slime we saw in Burn Daisy. We do damage to him before he even talks to us, so yeah, a lot of this fight is just switching pretty early and not hitting the wall.
Wow, what a hero. Doesn't even try diplomacy on this giant angry slime.
Nope, just murdering. Later on in the game, it does, like, get kind of into the whole, like, why are we killing monsters thing, but yeah, that's later on. Wow, that's the first time I've actually done that and not been pushed in by the fish. The fish here get pretty annoying. They can push you all over the place, and if those tentacles get you as well, they'll grab you. So the Japanese version of this game does have some differences, and one of the differences is there's a lot more of those green tentacles in this level, and I feel like the reason they removed them in the American version or the European localization as well, is but look at this bit here. Like, they removed the tentacle in the English versions here because of the lag that's right there. But if you were doing a glitch run, you wouldn't even see this dungeon, so it doesn't become a problem running the American version of the game. Oh. So this is like your compulsory water temple, as you'd see in any Zelda game. Oh, I thought I could get that. I thought I could get that, but no. But yeah. This dungeon is fairly slow, so it's not going to be too much happening here, but
So the only way to change up your animal loadout is actually to enter the menu, correct? There's no real quick swap?
no quick swap, unfortunately. That's one of my gripes about this game is the fact that you have to go through the menu a lot for everything. But at the same time, the menu load is pretty short, so it doesn't get too annoying. But I think even Link to the Past didn't even do it either, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we're pushing these blocks here. I usually push both of them to stop the air because, like, if I move like a pixel down and try and get past it, it's gonna push me back no matter what, so it's usually just faster for me to do both. Like I said, if you were doing a glitch run of this, you wouldn't even see this dungeon, so this isn't really a thing people ever worry about in glitched. I do like Root Temple, so. Also, Root Temple has one of my favorite bosses in the game. Just because I think the mechanics are fairly interesting, and I think that in a glitch run you would never see this boss, so this is one of the few times in a speedrun you're ever gonna see Leviathan. He only attacks you when you attack him. Like, the fight won't actually begin until you throw your sword at him. He'll project an image of your mother,
Wow.
and you have to defend it.
So just very, very clearly, just starting the fight, what a hero.
Yeah. There's gonna be some more weird fights like this later on, where it kind of really pushes the fact that that you're just like a horrible person just beating these monsters up. It's like I guess it's the one thing I've been like thinking about recently is it's kind of like the opposite to Undertale in the sense that you're kind of stuffing the monsters back into the cavern rather than them trying to get out. But yeah, that's Leviathan. I could have done that fight way better, but Leviathan's impressed by what you do, so he decides to join you. And he raises his temple from the bottom of the ocean. So no more breathing mechanics. We can leave.
So, a couple times during this run you've mentioned that you've had to kind of serious time a little bit because you were close to death.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how this game treats death?
If you die in this game, it is a game over. You just go back to wherever you last saved, and if I hadn't saved at all, it would have been right at the beginning of the game.
Ouch, that is rough.
Yeah.
How often can you save?
You can save as long as you're not in a boss room. And saving is pretty instant, so you don't lose too much time. So I would rather, like, if I know I'm gonna die, then I'd rather just, like, save first. Also, I'm making this look harder than it is. Alright. For some reason this isn't working out, so no more Leviathan. There we go. Usually I don't do it that way, but I had to there. So Ciel, I didn't actually explain Ciel's ability too much, but her ability is basically the sword will bounce off walls, and you use that mechanic there to solve that puzzle. I use Leviathan because sword swing and charge time is faster, and that helps me get past a lot of these obstacles quicker. So in this room there's these like weird duck dinosaur things again, and they like regenerate too. It's really strange. But if you leave them too long they'll come back. So we do that. And there's this room with fire. So the reason why we're doing all of this in the Tower of Babel is because the elevator broke. The elevator that we used to reach Roxy is conveniently broken, so we have to climb up the tower manually. Spot the difference, by the way.
Wow. The architects of this, they were just like, what if the elevator breaks down? Just make a bunch of death traps.
Oh yeah. Also, I nearly pushed that red block down too far, but...
This makes me wonder now, is there any security system to the elevator?
I don't know. I guess not. That's
so
why...
just like, if the elevator breaks down, people will die fixing it.
Pretty much. Or maybe they realized the elevator was, like, too easy. They gotta work for it. Shouldn't be able to get to heaven this easily. Alright, it's a very simple puzzle here. I just stick to the top pretty much. Like, all these puzzles are fairly easy. Alright, so we use the seed here to climb to heaven. And this time it's not gonna fall down and attack us like Roxy. I don't really, like, there's nothing in the story that really explains why you suddenly decide to go to heaven. But you do. If you went around and actually talked to these people here, we're not going to because we're kind of rude, but your father's actually in heaven there. You can speak to him, and there's a couple of like little puzzles you can do for extra gold apples and things like that.
That seems like a prime candidate for Easter eggs in the game.
This game
like
was
you mentioned how there's like a few related to the Sonic franchise or Sega games in general. Like that seems like a great place for it.
There's a lot of strange Easter eggs and things in this game that I can't really find an explanation for why they were put there, but it just seems like the devs had a lot of fun. In Camellia Desert, I actually didn't mention it, but there is a set of sandbags there that actually say the developer's name, which is Artec, which is weird. It should be Nextech, but I think maybe they were going under a different name at the time, or it was a different company or something, but if you play the American version, it actually says Atlas instead, because that was the publisher for the American version of the game. So just a sequence of puzzles here, really. A lot of platforming puzzles. This always looks like a dude having his hair pulled to me. Like, he looks like he's screaming in agony. There's bees. There's a lot of bees in this level for some reason. Like, they just really want to knock you around a lot. But we do kind of want them to push us here just a little bit, like that, because that's always nice. Alright, almost didn't clear that, but we did it.
Alucard mentioning that this is basically what every Umbrella employee has to do every day they go to work.
Pretty much. Alright. So, in a glitched run here, if you jumped in that hole that's just on the side there, that would actually take you straight to the top and you'd fight Maldra instantly. So it's just... there we go. These, like, tiles actually spell out a word. Depending on the version you're playing. It will say dog or god. I suppose it doesn't really matter, because reversed it's gonna mean something else anyway. But the solution is actually to bring the dog out here to get to this door. Otherwise it won't let you through. So now we're in Maldra's lair, which is full of these annoying birds.
Reference to all dogs go to heaven, I guess.
I guess so. These birds are like weird. They're like the same enemies in Dahlia Valley, but they don't make their flapping noise and they don't like chase you either. They're just there to nudge you. So we're gonna switch to the enhanced ice sword. I like calling it dark sword because that's what it looks like to me. And this dragon we're gonna hit on the back. Depending on how lucky we are, is pretty much like if she puts her sword down a lot, then we can get her in one cycle. Like there. Okay, so that was a good fight. But yeah, Maldra can sometimes troll and she can decide not to put her sword down. But yeah, that was a good, that's how the fight should be going. Alright. So now we're back at the bottom of the Tower of Babel. They put us in a really bad spot because we can't actually leave. But our butterfly decides to come back, and conveniently we have to use her right now, so... The butterfly will let you control the sword exactly how you want it to. So you'll move your cursor up, it'll go up. If you move your cursor down, it'll go down. Okay, so another day...
You still only get the one instance of the sword though, right? So eventually you do want it to come back if you need to swing again or move.
If you open your menu, it will come back to you, pretty much. You have to do that when you, cause it can it will eventually come back to you on, what's it now? When you combine it with the mower. But if you open your menu, the sword will always just come back. Also, I am very worried about the amount of health I have right now, so don't mind if I take this a little bit carefully. I am gonna save, so we should be fine. So this is more talking that we actually have to do. We have to talk to this girl, and she asks us to listen to a story by her grandmother. Her grandmother talks about how she was sent back in time by a pair of shoes, and you talk to the girl again, and she'll ask you if you believe the story. You have to say yes, otherwise you can't proceed. So with the 50 gold we got now, we can talk to this flower. If you talk to this flower any sooner, he won't speak to you. He'll just say that he's shocked and he doesn't want to say anything. But apparently flowers have an economy, and by giving him 50 mallions, he'll tell you about this crater here.
Using photosynthesis, they have a self-sustaining economy.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hang on, sorry, I'm just debating what animals I should have here. Okay, so I'll save here too. Enemies here look exactly, well, they look similar, they're different colors, so by that definition, they're obviously stronger. So, I'm actually gonna pick up some health here. Because the health I have left is the health I'm gonna have to do the next dungeon. So I wanna kinda make sure I actually live. Whatever health I have coming out of here is the health I have for the next boss too, so... okay, so... we went all this way to get the armadillo, which... I need to reset this. didn't move the thing far enough. We want to move this little cushion or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I assume it's like a wooden plank. To talk to this armadillo and he'll join our team. And he's basically like a board. So we never need to rely on those like boards ever again because he's basically ours. Okay, so he's stuck there, so we can just leave him alone. Right, I've got both of them. Alright, we should be good for the next area now. Because I do need to take some hits as I leave, so that'll put me quite low. Alright, so we equip the armadillo here, and this is what he's used for. So he turns into a little board you can pick up, if I can grab him. Wow, I can't grab him. And then you throw him, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So in this chest is the shoes. This is the shoes that send you back forward in time again. So now playing Back to the Future. But I do have to take a hit here leaving, so coming up here with the moving spike things. I don't know what they are.
They're video game enemies. That's
Video.
what they are.
Video, well, that's true. But yeah, this is where I have to take damage. So that's why I needed that health. So the next dungeon I'll be doing on 4 health. That's what we've got. So there's a tornado at Camellia Desert right now. So this area over here, like you can go over here in a casual playthrough before it's got the tornado here, but like you can't do anything. There's like literally nothing you can do here aside just leave. So this is the tomb that opens, and you wouldn't be, even if you could go here, you wouldn't be able to get very far anyway, because you need the armadillo. There is an interesting like backstory here if you actually talk to the NPCs. I should mention that once you defeat Maldra, the language barrier between animals and people is completely broken, so you can talk to everyone again. And there's like an interesting backstory here about kind of how cryptic this place is, so it's worth playing in English for that.
Cryptic like Nintendo Power cryptic, or cryptic like just gotta think it out a little bit?
I just gotta think it out a little bit. It's nothing too complicated. Yeah, we've got 2 health. I took like 1 more point of damage than I should, but I've done this boss without taking any hits, so we should be okay. Worst comes to worst, I can actually save before fighting him, and it will just put me back to before I even enter the doorway, so there's no massive time loss. In my PV, I actually died here, so that's something I can actually do in my next run. For some reason, Armadillo doesn't come back to you right away either, so you have to... Wow. Okay. Sometimes you have to open the menu and close it to bring them back. But yeah, we went down here just to save this woman. Like, there's no because we're doing it so quickly, there's like no context for you saving that woman at all. But after all that, we get a magic cape. And the magic cape lets us fight the Chameleon, which we need the penguin for. If you use the enhanced ice sword, it won't work. So we gotta do this without... Well, it's taking as little damage as possible, and hitting him as much as we can. But he's a fairly easy boss. I don't think any of the other bosses in this game are really that threatening, so... This is the last one that can actually eat you like that. hopefully we should be fine. Okay, so he's dead. We got our health restored to full, so we're fine. And we actually rescue a moa, which is an ancient animal that's been trapped here. And the moa is the best animal in the game, because by equipping her with the cheetah, you quadruple your speed. But by also doing that, you can also bonk into stuff, so let me give you a demonstration here.
Yeah, I was gonna... This is the part that I kind of caught when I tuned into your stream a couple times.
So some of the prisoners escape from the dungeon, and this guy proclaims that he wants to start an oasis and start a new life, and this is where the animal oasis, or the animal sanctuary, comes from. So that's the end of Camellia Desert. Next part is, actually a lot of the rest of this game is actually not too difficult now, so, at this point in the game, if you were on good pace, it's very likely that you would PB. So here's the uncrispy chicken. This is the dodo. He turns your sword into a magnet which can pull items. He can't actually pull this item here by himself, but if you combine him with the mower, it makes it extra sticky. And you upset the puppet master by doing so. So the fastest way to kill puppet master is with the lion and the mower. So it'll be about 4 apples of damage. Oh, I missed him there. Okay, one more hit and he'll be done. We're not very nice to him, unfortunately. But there's nothing he can really do to hurt you. But with the Puppet Master dead, it means the crabs in Iris, the little log things in Iris, and the slimes cease to exist. And you realize, you see that door was actually sealed up, so you can never go back to Burn Daisy ever again once you do that. Alright, so this is back to the beach. This is the past version. And you just do the same things as you did before, except this time you have Moa, so it's a little bit faster. Oh dear. I have to be careful, like, bonking and jumping, because stuff like that does happen, but... I mean, at this point in the game, losing health isn't a big deal. You're gonna get it. There's so many boss fights at this point in the game that you're just gonna keep getting health back over and over. So this is the animal town of the past, and the monkey is trying to, like, assemble an army. Well, assembling a team of folk to take on Baron, which is an oversized wood louse that's basically taken over the entire of this beach. But as you talk to these animals, you realize that they're kind of assholes. They don't want to help, but I mean, they don't really stand a chance because they don't have any weapons, so guess who's gonna be doing it instead? So you actually have to talk to everyone to proceed here. Once you do so, Monkey will say, "Oh, no one's gonna help me. I'm gonna go do it myself." And he leaves. But you know what's gonna happen. He's not gonna be able to handle it. So we gotta go do it ourselves. This was a part of the game where I used to get really stuck as a child, because you have to find Baron, but Baron's just here. It's supposed to be like a long puzzle of finding him. You look for a place on the beach where there's no footprints, and that took me forever to do as a youngin'. But Baron's not too hard, he just splits. if you use the fire and the mower, it destroys him before he goes into his third phase. He would split into like 4 little tiny itty bitty dudes. Ooh, I don't know how I entered that. So we're talking to everyone here. You have to talk to everyone, and then there'll be a scripted event where Monkey will wake up.
So one thing about the saving system, you mentioned that you can save anywhere. I assume when you do have to load a save that you start at the beginning of a room, but does it save your health as well?
I believe your health gets reset. I don't think it gets reset to max, but it gets reset to about half, if I remember correctly. But it definitely, like, if you saved on 2 health and you reloaded, you would probably have way more than that.
Any applicable use in the run, or is it mostly just budgeted out pretty well throughout the course of the game?
Ideally in a run you would not worry about health at all. Like, you wouldn't die at all, so you wouldn't need to save. Like, my PB run I didn't save at all, and it just saves a lot of time if you don't have to restart. Just tiny things. Like, generally if you keep an eye on your health and you manage it well during the run, you're usually fine. So this mountain is a mom, and we're gonna kill the mom. I think here what I prefer doing is I take off Moa and I put on Leviathan as well as Cheetah, because there's a lot of points here where we just have to, like, slash things, so that's usually my preference. Also, taking damage here is not a problem. I could take as much damage as I feel like here, and it won't be a problem, because the next boss is a joke. And this dungeon is not that bad, to be fair. We are gonna switch to you though. Not quite gonna do it. Okay, we'll do it the slow way. Normally you can just make it all the way up here and it's not a huge deal, but okay. Alright, so from here on out we can just equip Moa, and it should be fine.
So the more I've been seeing this, the more it seems like rooms are usually kind of like puzzle rooms or combat rooms. It does seem like there's very few rooms where they kind of mix the two. Does that seem to be the case?
I feel like that, but yeah, I feel like that's the case, because it doesn't really do the thing Zelda does, where it'll, like, throw a bunch of enemies at you that you have to deal with before you can proceed. You can just skip them all if you so feel like it. Also, this is the hardest boss fight in the game, by which I mean the easiest, because it does nothing. It's a very one-sided fight. You just go in, you destroy the heart. The heart actually does nothing to you, and you just kill it. And then you take the mom's horn. And by going to the future with it, the babies don't exist and she's dead, so there's no more turtles on this mountain, ever. So no more spawns. Alright, so we leave. We are actually near the end of the game right now. If I was on pace, this would be about... hitting an hour now, I think. Maybe less than that. But we go back to the town of Soleil in the past. This is more like talking, so if you have anything to say or, like, tell stream, then it's a good time to do it, I suppose.
Sure. Just to catch it really quickly, the next couple games that we're going to be having on Turbo's Rad Marathon number 4 are going to be Yono and the Celestial Elephants. That is going to be getting run by Isbullets. And then after that, we're going to be having Castlevania with Spriven, and Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 that I'm going to be doing the DLC for. Just as a reminder, Turbo's Rad Marathons is typically not a charity thriving stream or one that promotes charities a lot. However, for this particular one, we are trying to help out Aaron _. He is a Silent Hill runner who recently had his monitor busted. He's requesting $150 to try and replace it. He's provided us the widget to be able to track it. However, all the donations are going directly to him. You can find the link for that at the bottom of the screen. It should go to his Streamlabs specifically. That's to avoid any transaction costs that we might incur from doing it twice. Make sure to mention Turbo's Rad Marathon if you guys feel like donating to that. We would appreciate it a lot. Even though we can't read out the donations specifically, Aaron has agreed to make a short thank you video to those of you that do donate. So we thank you for your generosity there, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the marathon. Got a bunch of games to go.
Okay, so this is actually the last dungeon of the game, believe it or not. This is the cave where all the monsters came from, and by doing that town section there, you realize that, like, monsters didn't ever belong here, so we're kind of going to send them back. So by doing that, we have to go through the cavern where they came from. So here is where the only use where you actually need Mower and Butterfly. It will basically allow you to control your sword forever until it hits something like a wall, or if you decide to menu. So that's the way to get past that. Quick Leviathan and Cheetah again. There's actually there's no combat here at all until around the end, and there'll be 5 bosses, or 6 bosses rather, that we have to deal with. All of them are pretty easy, none of them are too bad. You basically use all your animals here to get past the puzzles. I've never done this part correctly before, but maybe this time will be the first time I get it right. Oh, I nearly had it. That was pretty close, but ideally I shouldn't have used Dino there. Okay, so oh yeah, I guess I used Mower and Butterfly here too, but so when we throw our sword over this pathway here, it will reveal some floor that we can use, but we're just gonna have like the minimal path for ourselves here, so that'll do. Oh god. Fortunately, a lot of the stuff here is kind of fairly low risk, so I shouldn't need to worry about dying compared to the rest of the game. Alright, so all the monsters that we had slain have ended up here, and they're kind of basically stuck here. And they basically kind of, I guess, regenerate here until they're ready to come back, but this is the mother monster here, and she basically explains that that they can't leave because there's like a force blocking them. So she'll heal you to full, and then you have to defeat the 5 senses that are blocking the way. So yeah, we got the 2 we need here. The first one is sight, and a lot of the boss fight is just like dictated on what each sense is proficient in. Okay, so that's the first one. The next one will be touch, and we don't really need to change our setup here, so So we kind of hope that those fireballs coming from this attack will hit both of them. But it really just depends where they want to move. The fight can be really fast if they tend to stay together, but they like separating a lot. Okay, so that's that one done. What's this one? The next one should be... Okay, this one's taste, so we need cheater and mower. Preferably we don't want to bonk too much, like that. Taking damage here also isn't a problem. We'll just take it if we have to. But this is just Pac-Man. You just get all the apples. They don't actually heal you at all. They're just sort of there. Okay, so that's that fight done. At this rate, we could try doing the last boss without healing, because normally I heal before him, but... Okay, so this one is kind of a jerk. This is, hearing. He'll make the floor really slidey, and you will hurt yourself if you're unlucky. In my PB, he liked hugging the corner, and it made the fight just really not nice. Oh, he's hugging the corner now. But he's nearly dead. I might not even need to heal for the final boss, but depending on how I feel about it, we might be okay. Okay, so next one, I'm gonna save just in case here, because this one you have to take damage on, so... like, you can do it without taking damage, but I just take damage doing it. It's just faster. Some people do use the armadillo to do this, but this is how I do it. But what I'm doing is I'm basically activating the floor, and... Oh god. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to take a heal after this. Okay. I gotta be careful now, because I can only take one more hit. So... We'll bring him over here. And we're fine. We literally have no health left, so we're gonna have to pick some up. The last gateway is open by killing all of them though. But if you want health, you just do that. That's literally all you do. So to beat the final boss, and it will not be time after this boss is beaten, by the way. I'll let you know when time actually is. This is like, I guess it's like a spirit guardian or something like that. You basically fight it after you've dealt with the 5 senses. And it's a pretty easy fight, you just do it in 2 cycles. So it's not the end of the game yet, so we've got about a minute left, I would say. Actually, I have no idea how I'm actually doing pace-wise. I feel like after this run I'm gonna have to check the time. Final boss uses con. So all the monsters got sent back to where they were, and we can still jump for whatever reason. But we go pick up our dog. Our dog just whiffs at us now. We're back to normal. We can't talk to animals anymore, but our dog likes us anyway. He was doing some naughty with the dog in the king's room. We're gonna go take him for a walk. That's basically our goal, is just to take the dog for a walk. And when we talk to this girl a second time, that will be time. And time. That's RagnaCenty.
Alright, so I have you timed on my end at 1 hour, 7 minutes, 33 seconds.
That's a PB, because mine is 1:07:45.
So you'll have to highlight this on your stream as well.
I will do. I
Get
was
a
actually
timer up and restream it.
Yeah, I was recording it in the background just in case, so that's awesome. Thanks very much for the marathon. I'm looking forward to like the next stuff as well. Like I'll still be around to watch the rest.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as mentioned, I'd like to try and give people a chance to kind of show off the stuff they've been working on. I know you've been spending a lot of time on FSCD, but I've also seen you putting in quite a bit of time on this game as well. And I mean, I never heard of this game. I was like, I wonder what type of game this is. And then I like tuned in and watched it a couple times, and I was like, this game's sweet.
Yeah.
Like, why am I not watching this more? Why aren't more people playing this also?
I feel really lucky to even have this game because my father was a big game collector and I was too young to buy games back then, so it was really thanks to him I even own these games and knew about them, so yeah. But yeah, thank you very much.
Alright, you're welcome. Alright guys, so that was RagnaCenty with Heroine DP, or Zephyr as she's known. Alright guys, so we're going to be moving forward here with the next game. We're going to go to a quick intermission real quick. We will be back shortly with Yono and the Celestial Elephants by Isbullets. So I'm going to play a little music. You'll probably hear stuff in the background as well. We don't have a fully dedicated setup crew here, so I kind of have to go as I can. But just stick with us. We'll be set up here in just a couple minutes. So stay tuned.